Haaretz newspaper, joining us from Tel Aviv. Nice to have you with us on the news grid. You know, it's interesting that the White House refers to an end goal as peace and, in fact, not Palestinian statehood. So does this mean that there is going to be a policy shift on behalf of the United States? And how will Netanyahu deal with that?
There will be a policy shift, but nobody knows what it will be, and will it be very meaningful. Let's remember that after all those years in which the United States stood, so-called, for the two-state solution, the United States did nothing to promote it. And we are today much farther from the two-state solution than 10 or 20 years ago. So is it really a shift just to realize that the two-state solution is dying or maybe dead already with 600,000 settlers, as you just mentioned? So it's time to see, first of all, if Donald Trump is going to be very involved in the Middle East. Is it in the top of his priorities? And how far will he go with restraining Israel and putting boundaries for Israel not to go wilder than it goes?
Domestically, though, what sort of pressure is Netanyahu under himself to leave Washington, having gotten the full support of Trump, to appease his right-wing coalition members?
Your reporter just mentioned the investigations against Netanyahu. This does not make him any more powerful, but he is also quite taken hostage by the right-wingers who are even more extreme than him in his coalition, and he is quite committed to their rhetorics, which is even more extreme than his one, and he has to come back with at least some kind of more extreme rhetorics, some kind of carte blanche to build more settlements, maybe not everywhere, but to build more, and some kind of promise that there is a new era, so-called, in the relations between Israel and the United States.
Even though that President Trump has said that Israeli settlement growth in Palestinian territories is not good for peace, so we have to put that on the record for a second. But one other contentious issue I need to ask you about is the issue of moving the embassy, the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. What do you think is going to happen with that?
I think it's quite off the table. I think that even Benjamin Netanyahu understands that the price will be much too high. And I think that's the impression we are getting from Washington, that Donald Trump by himself gave it up, at least for the time being, like many former presidents who promised it before the elections and then forgot about their promise. I think that by the end of the day, this is not a very important issue. I mean, the location of an embassy is really not a crucial issue. There are so many much more crucial issues, and I hope the two leaders will touch them.
Okay, Gideon Levy, we thank you for speaking to us on Al Jazeera. So we will